All right. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello out there. I am Aaron from Solace, back with you for yet another office hours. It is August 27th, 2024. And today we're going to be doing an event portal office hours. We haven't done one in quite a while. And to help me out with that, I'm joined by my colleague, Darryl. Darryl, hello. Welcome to the stream.
Hey, Aaron. Hey, everyone. How you doing?
Hello. Where are you joining us from?
I'm in Ottawa.
Actually, yeah. So am I, everybody. So
I
usually do these things in a variety of locations, depending on where I am. I'm home for vacation, but also at headquarters. So I'll probably see you in the office tomorrow, I guess. Eh, Darryl?
Yeah, we're this afternoon. I'll be heading in as well.
Okay, all right. I might come in today then. I don't know. All right. So why don't you, for the people that don't know you, give yourself a little intro and say hello.
So hey everyone, I'm Darryl MacRay. I'm the Director of Product Management for Event Portal here at Solace. So everything Event Portal, I'm your guy.
Right. So managing lots of features, building out all sorts of cool stuff. And today we're going to be talking about self-service access to Event Portal data with some governments. Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty good episode. We are live on LinkedIn. We're live on YouTube and on our Solace.community community forum. So wherever you're watching us from, thank you for joining. If you're watching the replay, thanks for checking us out. For those that are live, put a comment in the chat, say hello, tell us where you're joining from. It's always interesting, if you're if it's late at night for you in Asia Pacific or the middle of the day in Europe. Just say hello. And don't be afraid to ask questions. We are live, and that's what we are hoping for, right, Darryl? We want some people asking questions about
more
these.
More fun if it's interactive for sure.
That's right. All right. Well, we got one keener beaner already saying hello. Tamimi from my team. Hello, welcome. Good morning. It's early. What time is it? 8 a.m. in Vancouver, I guess. So thanks for tuning in and being there. So Darryl. So I guess should we just go ahead and share your slides and start going?
Let's just introduce it. What the features are.
What are we gonna?
So can you expand those? Perfect.
There we go. Yep.
So essentially, we've been wanting to do this feature set for a while in Event Portal. It's basically closing the loop with the runtime, not only from a discovery perspective of discovering data from the brokers, but actually provisioning the brokers from Event Portal based off your application's event interface. So getting exactly the events that you're allowed to access, and they're defined for your application as defined in Event Portal, and only those events. So it's self-service access to event data in the runtime, but with governance. So, So basically, with Event Portal, go ahead, Aaron. Sorry.
No, go. You go ahead. I'll just interrupt you when I.
Interrupt. So essentially, with Event Portal, we're all about helping development teams build event-driven applications faster. And we've been working on these various steps in the life cycle of an event-driven application, from discovering what event data is available to designing your application's interface based off of those events, so from a pub and a sub perspective. Then doing the authorization of, do you have access to this data or shouldn't you have access to this data? And then based off of that, being able to push the configuration of to the broker that is required for your application to connect to the broker in the runtime and get access to the data that they're allowed to from a consumption perspective, but also like publishing to topics as well. And then, of course, you can audit the configuration of the brokers over time to ensure that the Event Portal view doesn't diverge from what's actually happening in a runtime. And then you basically can analyze and improve your application with versioning and then promoting new versions of your application, going through this whole path again. So what we've been really focusing on, and what we're going to concentrate on today, is the authorize and the promote and deploy aspects of this life cycle. So, and I'll go into that in very much detail today, actually, and give you some demos of this functionality. So what this provides, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, like, we've been working on Event Portal for years now, and I think it was its primary focus kind of at the well, for the maybe the last while, was designing your applications, building them with your schemas, your events, your applications, and how that interaction is, providing that catalog feature to be able to search and discover what events are available to you. And then it was kind of, the runtime piece is a bit more recent, in terms of like kind of like getting that declarative SEMP to allow the configuration on the broker side. But this is now all going to be tied together into one like nice, I don't know, chain of capabilities, right? With being able to actually request access to this data and have it all kind of just automated and provisioned for you.
Exactly, the full life cycle. And it's all available now. The authorize is actually released in everybody's account who have access, and the promote and deploy, we're in a closed beta, but we're pretty much letting new users who want early access to it in as they like. So let us know if you're interested in trying out this.
So this is not an up and coming feature. This is, most of this is pretty much ready to go right now. So that's
we're going to show it today. Exactly.
All right. Before we get into to switch the slides, we got a few more shout outs to say. I just want to say hello to them. Hello from Zurich, Javier. Thank you for joining us. That's nice. Anatin from India. Good evening. It is what time is it there? 8:30 p.m. I guess. Hopefully you're at home and relaxing. Good afternoon from Geneva. Carlos. Hello. Thank you for joining the stream. And Sissy. Hi, Sissy. From Saint Leon Rot. Saint Leon Row? I don't know. I'm not, my French isn't so good, but yes. Good evening. Hello. Good afternoon, I guess, actually. So thank you for joining the stream. Again, don't be afraid to put your questions up in the chat as we go through. Darryl is here to answer all of our questions. So, all right, let's carry on there.
Yeah, sure. So again, this is providing developers self-service access to the event data in the runtime for their applications. But and not just any access, it's governed access. And we're going to show you how we do that. So I have a few slides. I'll just go through these, Aaron, and kind of explaining what I'm going to show, and then I'll show what I'm going to show, and then we can talk about it throughout.
Perfect. Yep.
So the big part of this is of course the access and authorization to access your events. So with a new feature that we released about 3 weeks ago or so, end of July. You can now designate some of your events when you create an event as requires approval, or it could have the auto approved, as they always did up to the point we released that feature. So at this point, if you designate an event or sensitive data as requires approval, you will have to request approval from the approvers. And you can see in the catalog which events require approval, which are auto approved, and so forth. And that's kind of what I'm showing here with a couple of screenshots, where you configure it and where you can see it in the catalog, of course. So what this really does is it puts the control of who has access to what event data in the hands of the data owners. Now, this could be the app team that created the events and are producing the data, or it could be a central governance team. So basically, in some organizations, that's all governed centrally. Which applications have access to which data across the organization.
Right.
So this no longer needs to be the responsibility of the middleware or integrations team. You don't have to get both parties in a room and say, can he have access to this and can she have access to that, and then configure it. This can all be done in the event portal itself.
Right. And I guess this could be managed like within each organization, right? Like in one organization, it could be the app owners that are the request approvers, and maybe another part of the organization, there is a central team and they get all the requests for data, and you can kind of build this how you, or configure this how you need to, right?
Exactly. It's configurable based off of how your organization is set up and your internal processes and operations. Yep.
Cool.
Exactly. So totally configurable that way. So so what it does is, again, like we're all about with Event Portal, is helping you build event-driven applications more quickly, is getting those efficiency gains, including the runtime control. Mm-hmm. So when you design your application's interface, it will be prevented from actually being pushed that configuration required for your application to consume those events or publish to specific topics, and pending the approvals. that need to happen. So
Makes
there's
sense.
a simple approval flow in the product, which sends out in-app notifications as well as emails and to the approvers. And then when everything is approved or if declined, if that has to happen, you get an email back as a developer or requester of the data.
So no broker configuration changes happen until it's all approved, and so like no queues, no ACLs, none of that kind of stuff, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So this is the governance aspect of the self-service configuration. You can't just have access to everything.
Yep.
There's obviously policies and regulations and things you'd want to comply to, and this helps companies comply to those.
Cool. Yep.
So the next aspect, and this is the part that is still in a closed beta, we're continuing to enhance this functionality until we release it and make it generally available. But this is the config push aspect. So this is giving you the ability to actually add an application as it's defined in Event Portal to a broker in Event Portal, which really pushes the configuration changes to the brokers that are required for that application. So that allows developers to do this on their own, as opposed to having to ask for someone else in another team to be able to do it for them. And it's completely controllable on who has access to do what.
It's controllable as who has access to what? Do the configuration changes
and on which environment? Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So for your own development environment, often you'd want the developers to have access to provision their brokers as they see fit, and you don't need to necessarily give the developers full admin access to the brokers themselves. You can just give them the ability to push configurations that are approved in Event Portal to the brokers.
Right.
So it's kind of cool that way.
Okay.
And it provides a preview, of course, before the configuration is pushed of what is going to change on the brokers and what's going to change for that application. And this is the configuration inside the broker service or the message VPN that is required specifically for that application. And then, this is fully governs the runtime. So you can only push the approved configs. So it's not possible. We're building now to get to GA is configuration templates to allow the middleware integrations teams to define specific queue templates that can be used. And it makes it a little easier for developers just to select from an approved list, but it also provides the governance on the resource side, not just the data side, but the shared resource, which is the broker, of course.
Yeah.
And you can completely, like I just mentioned, configure which development teams or developers specifically have access to deploy these configuration changes to the brokers in which environments. All configurable based off of your own internal operational practices.
Right. Cool.
So that's the slides, Aaron.
That's the slides. All right. Well, we have a question here while you're getting set up for your next thing. It's from one of our longtime viewers, Running Roach. How's it going? Can we restrict topics themselves from being subscribed to using this? I think you're gonna see.
Exactly.
Yes, short answer. Yeah.
Which topics you can attract to your applications and which topics you can publish to as well. So you can control it both from a pub and a sub perspective.
Yeah.
And that's for both guaranteed messaging and direct messaging, actually.
That's right. So the way that obviously a lot of that works is using our ACL profiles, which Darryl is going to be definitely showing us, and also in the guaranteed sense, consuming guaranteed, that would be subscriptions that are allowed to be added to your queues, and the configuration there locks everything kind of else out. So for a particular client username, here's your ACL profile, and here's what you're allowed to see based on this governance and what the event portal says you're allowed to see, right?
Exactly. And it's just whether you're approved to get that data or not. And we'll show you that whole flow.
We're going to do it live. We're going to do it live right now.
You know what they say about live demos, Aaron?
They're the best. Don't do them. Don't do them.
But we're going to do it. All right. So
if this goes perfectly, people will probably think it was pre-recorded. So hopefully there's always one small glitch. There has to be.
Probably. I'll miss a step somewhere, I'm sure. So
So let me Thanks for the question there, Running Roach. And everybody, don't be afraid to put your questions in the chat.
Yeah, great question. And we're going to show you how that's done as well. Oh, there's Mark.
Yep. Hey, Mark. just throw them up here. Well, yeah. Good morning. Looking forward to the live demo. Yep. Here it comes. Running Roach, another +1 request for on-prem event portal, please. Yep. I can't speak to that. Darryl, you're the product manager. How's that going? I know a couple of customers asked for this.
It's still something under consideration, but longer term. We're trying to fill out the product as the SaaS initially, for sure, and make sure that it does everything before we would want to tackle that, because it's a large would be a large effort for sure. So
right.
And we need an interest, gauge interest from the field, but that's a +1 obviously right there.
Yep. I know the customer name, so I'll make sure to follow up with you on that.
Let me know. Yeah. Okay.
It's on if it's on the FCL. So, all right. Thanks for that, Running Roach. Okay.
Okay. So let me set this all up and kind of explain my setup, because it's a bit comprehensive, because as it's a request approval flows for access to data, you need at least 2 personas, potentially even 3 if it's a third party that's doing the approvals. Mm-hmm. But effectively, I have an event portal set up here. So this is my event portal. I am logged into this event portal instance as a requester.
Right.
Okay. So I'm logged into this account, and this is on Chrome right now. I'm as a requester. So I've also logged in through Edge as right here as Darryl Approver. So I got Darryl Requester and Darryl Approver, and I will use both of these personas kind of to depict and show the functionality that we're doing here. Yeah. So
are there other types of like accounts or like personas that?
Well, to set it all up, I logged in as incognito Chrome, and I'm over here as Darryl Admin.
Darryl Admin. Okay.
So I've got multiple personalities here, Aaron.
Okay. All right. Interesting. We'll try to keep it all together here. So,
yes, but we don't really have to deal with Darryl Admin unless you guys want to see the stuff behind the scenes that these users, the developer users and their approvers would see.
Right.
So basically, in my requester account, this is designer, catalog, runtime, event manager, and the KPI dashboard as normal parts of event portal. If I drill into the designer, you'll see here I have the fulfillment. I have different application domains. And then in these different application domains, for illustration purposes, I've created different levels of access for my requester user. And that's where I use the admin user for, of course. So in the fulfillment domain, I'm a manager. So an application domain manager. In the merchandising domain, I am an editor. Darryl Requester is an editor. I just have viewer access to the online services application domain, and then I have no access at all to the shipping application domain. So I can only see shared events and schemas that are shared out of that domain, nothing that's non-shared. And I cannot even drill into that domain here. I would have to see those shared events and schemas from the catalog.
Okay, from the catalog. So you can still browse what's available from a sharing perspective, but you just can't kind of go into it from a
exactly. I just can't manipulate or enter the domain, see the applications in there. But I can, as an event-driven architecture, you want to share a lot of the data across the organization. That's where you get the return on investment, and so you definitely want to be able to share event data, outside of specific domains or teams.
What's the difference between manager and editor? Is it something basic, or is it?
Yeah, so it's like, so you if you're a manager, you can actually edit the domain itself at the domain level. So you could do topic roots. Sure. So basically, the first couple levels of the topic, define what that is, enforce the uniqueness there, enforce that they use a topic domain. So basically makes the edit. It's just a little bit more access than the editor itself.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Yep.
So if I drill into one of these, Aaron, you'll see a new, relatively new in the last.
The graph view is back. Yeah.
Yes, we got a graph view back in Designer. So we have it we put it in Runtime Event Manager in 2.0 of Event Portal. Now we're back in Designer. So in this view, you can see these guys, these concentric circle icons are applications.
Those are the apps. Yeah.
Yeah, the ones that look the same but with a dotted outline are just in draft state as opposed to released or deprecated. We don't show retired state ones in this view. These little circle icons are events.
Those are
If
the
they're
events.
if they're full circles, like it's solid, it's basically that event is being produced and owned in this application domain. But so this app team. If you have a half moon shape, they are shared from other application domains, but being used by applications in this application domain.
Okay.
And this little hexagon guy is other application domains, which you can double click on and navigate to other application domains.
All right. Okay.
So I can see merchandising. I can't get to the shipping one because I don't have access to that one as this user.
Yep.
So if I go back to fulfillment, I can see, and basically these are your app domain views of all of your event-driven architecture assets.
So almost all the events that the fulfillment applications are using actually come from other places, right? Because most of them are shared.
In this case, yes, exactly. If I go to the online services, you'll see a lot of the events are actually produced in that app domain, but they're still using stuff outside at the bottom here.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, let's go back to fulfillment, and I'll show you, like, if you wanted to create a new application that say leveraged events from other app domains, how you would do that, and especially if they required approval. So before I do that though, let me go into the runtime event manager aspect and show what we have for role-based access there. So we have multiple role-based access. You can really control and customize who has access to what in your in Event Portal. So in Runtime Event Manager, what we have here are a set of event meshes, which could be one or more broker services or message VPNs. They could be meshed together to create a mesh, or just could be one single one. I have a development environment, an integration environment, and a production environment. And in the development environment, my Darryl requester user is an editor. So you could be an editor, or you could be a viewer, or you could be like the admin, of course. And then, so in the production, I'm just a viewer. So I couldn't add an application myself, one of my applications to production at this point.
Right.
You're
just a lowly developer.
I'm just a lowly developer in an app team. Exactly.
Okay.
which is a powerful thing though, because now you're able to do a lot of things with Event Portal from that. So if I drill into one of these event meshes in the development environment, and I'll zoom in here, you can see that I have the similar icons, but these are all of the applications that are deployed to the runtime and connected to the broker in that environment. So these are all the applications, and even if they're cross application domain. So in this case, you can see the shipping service app. You can just see the name. I can't get any other aspects of that, and I can't click on it to get more details there. But say I want it, and then you can see these. There's two shipment events, and I'm going to leverage these events. So if I double click on the event, you can see that they are set as requires approval here. And if I go to the catalog, you'll see the same thing. It requires approval. And if I had access to the domain as this user, it would say the same thing. So
this view here in the runtime event manager, this is what should be configured on the broker, or what is configured on the broker in terms of like the current deployment on this development in our development environment, this particular broker or mesh of brokers. This is what is actually there, right?
Versus this is the current view. Exactly.
And the designer is more like what should be configured, or what, because there could be stuff that's not deployed yet, I guess, right?
That's right. That's the new stuff that you're designing, and we focus on the latest version in the designer graph, although you can list all the versions in the list forms, of course. But that's where you're building stuff before you add it to an environment. And or an application version may be in dev environment, not in integration or test or production. Right. But you would promote them through those environments as part of that overall life cycle.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is leverage these two events in a new application from my fulfillment domain and pull these in from the shipping application domain. So if I go back to designer and I go into the fulfillment domain, by default you get this graph view, but you can switch over to the component view where you can get all the applications, the events. Click on them, you can get all the versions of each of these, what lifecycle state is, of course. But let's do this just from the graph.
It might be a bit easier. The table view might be a bit easier if once you start to get like a lot of data, right? And
and different versions are in play in different environments. Exactly. It's important to be able to access all of that it would clutter up the graph if you want to show all versions all the time.
Right.
Of course.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, as you would think, and including we have even retired lifecycle state versions, which you wouldn't, you don't need to show in Designer.
Right.
So now with a kind of a new cool drag and drop feature, we can just drag a new application on into my app domain, and I could call it shipping dashboard. So I'll call it, this is a new shipping dashboard application.
All right.
And then if I wanted to access one of those shared shipping events, I could do it in multiple ways. If I know what I'm looking for, I could just go here and just drag a shipping event on, or an event on, and then I have to select, okay, well, where is this? I know already what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the shipping events. I'll select this shipping created, and I'll just add it to the application domain. And then if I hover over this little guy, I can grab this little arrow and drag it right to my shipping application. So that's 0. So now it is actually indicating it wants to subscribe to this version of the shipping created event, this application.
Okay.
Now there are other ways to pull these events. Say you didn't necessarily know what you wanted to leverage. You can go in the catalog. You can go to your events tab. You could search for things. You could just type ship, and it'll bring up all events related to ship. Okay, and I also want the shipping updated one.
Right.
So I could select that. I could select the version I want and just say associate with an application.
Yeah.
And then from there, I can say where I want this. Where's this application? It's in the fulfillment domain. I can create a new one if I didn't already create my my shipping dashboard application. So let me just select this application, and I want to subscribe to this event. So I want to attract this event to my application when I'm ready to deploy to the runtime. Just click save, and and then close, and then I can go back to my fulfillment domain, and you'll see this little guy. Unfortunately, it ends at the bottom, but that's okay. And so now
just like that.
You have this version of this application attracting both shipment events.
If those events were already in our domain as shared events because another app is using it, I guess all you would have to do is just grab that little arrow thing at the top of the event, like a different event, like the product created there on the left or payment created, and just drag it over, right? Like you just
that's right. You could just go like say I want to order update, and I'll show you this after actually, and we'll drag it there. But we'll add a new version of this guy just to make the demo even more interesting for the viewers.
Okay.
So one other thing I'm going to do, Aaron, for again demo and illustration purposes. Okay, if I want to publish an event, if it already exists in this domain, I have this email test event. It's a draft event. I can just drag it from. Oops, I clicked on right clicked, which I shouldn't have did.
Yes.
There's your live demo.
There's my live demo. There's always. I
hit one.
There's always a little something that goes awry.
Okay, so I drag this guy over to this event. So now it's publishing this test event. And
you used to have to go into click on the app, go into edit version, then go into the events, and then click on publish, and then go search the event, and then type in what you want. Now we can just literally just drag and drop and build our subs and pubs and subs.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So you can build your whole list really quickly, right? And it's great for whiteboarding and when you're brainstorming and figuring out how it looks. And you can see the email test update event is going to be published to this Acme Retail Fulfillment email update topic. And then these two subscribed events, which are the shipment created and shipment updated events. And you see which their topic addresses as well.
So you already had that kind of email test event configured. So that's just I want to build an app that's going to notify my customers. And so here's the event that it's going to kind of look like.
Yeah.
And that was just
I already had it there.
Yeah.
And you could just drag one on if you wanted a new one and create that and design that event as well.
Okay.
So if I go into the app details, so now I'm in the components view list and specifically for this application and then this version of the application with 0.10. And you can see here, I'm subscribing to these two events, and I'm publishing the email test event. This isn't in any environments. There's no reference environment, so I haven't added this app. Now, to complete the configuration of this application, obviously in Solace, it doesn't know about versions of events. It knows about queues and subscriptions, basically.
Yep.
So what we're going to do is go to the consumers tab. We're going to edit this version, and we're going to add a consumer to attract those two events.
Right.
So if we add a consumer, which is essentially in Solace speak, basically a queue or a direct client connection. So I got the shipment dashboard queue. It's the two types are a direct client connection with, where you could add a subscription to, or an event queue. And we're going to choose an event queue. And we can add
event queue gives you that guaranteed quality of service, and the subscriptions are going to be added to that instead. So it's still attracting topics in a similar way. It's just going to a queue before it goes to the client, right?
Exactly. And if your client goes away for a bit, it saves those events in the queue.
Buffers them up. Yep.
So now we go to add a subscription. It does a suggestion of which subscriptions I should add. So if I do a shipment created, I could select this guy. It builds me the subscription that I should use, a pretty detailed, refined one. You could make this broader, but this one I'll use just as is, the suggested one. And then if I add the subscription, and it'll actually also tell me in which environment what would be attracted by the subscription.
Okay, so based on either other applications that might be, okay.
Yeah.
Or what events are flowing through that. Yeah, okay.
Exactly. So if I go back to the suggested events and I pick the updated one, I could select this guy, and then it will suggest the updated, the subscription would track that. But for illustration purposes and for the demo to make, so we can decline somebody's request and show you how all that works, let's make this subscription overly broad. So basically, we're going to use a wildcard here, and it's going to attract more than it needs to. These two events, if I deployed it to that development event mesh in the dev environment, but in any future events that are, published there, maybe it's a canceled, a shipment canceled, maybe there's other versions of this event. It's going to, major versions, minor versions, it will track everything. So
this is our multi-level wildcard. So basically, as long as the published topic matches those first three levels, we don't care. The Solace broker doesn't care what comes after that. It could be anything, and this will attract it, which is overly broad for our
use case. Yeah, exactly. And then approver may not want to approve that thing because he knows we have other plans for that topic space. In this application domain in future, and that's going to attract too many things.
There could be something internal or sensitive at a different topic level that they don't want to expose, or there could be a number of reasons, right?
Exactly. And so I added that subscription, and now if I just close this little drawer on the side, I have the two subscriptions added to my queue.
Consumer,
And now the queue, I'm going to add a configuration. So this is the cool new part where it comes back with just like a default configuration.
Very basic,
Very basic. Like that's the minimum queue you would want to configure. But I could make that as detailed as I want. Like put every property of a queue we have.
Right. So this is all SempV2, right? This is so if you know your SempV2 config stuff. This is it or is it not?
It's actually it's just a JSON of all the config properties, and you can find it in the docs. It'll show you which ones you add and which ones you want. And very shortly, we're adding the ability to template this. So I'll just, as a developer, just select from predefined ones.
Right.
And they'll be enforced, those templates.
Big queue, small queue, medium queue, something like that.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Queue,
exclusive queue, non-exclusive queue, like just your different types of queues that you would use, and you don't have to have ultimate infinite permutations of all these parameters in most cases, right?
Yeah, a lot of broker administrators like standardization for good reasons. It's easier to manage that way rather than each queue is unique and.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
So let's go back. Let's just reset this to the default, just so it's easier to find the stuff. I'll make this queue 55 gigs of space, just so it stands out when I push it to the broker. And if I save this guy.
All right.
Okay. So now he's still not in any environment.
Because we haven't deployed it yet, right?
And haven't deployed it yet. And you'll see this new little banner come up with our new feature. If you asked to consume or publish any events that you don't own in your app domain and that require approval, you have access progress. So there's actions required, because it looks like I got 3 different requests. So if I click on this before, and I won't be able to push this to the runtime until I get all the required approvals.
Right.
So now with the new feature of self-service access or config push, we have this new runtime tab, which most of you won't have seen yet, but some of you will. And then what this shows is all of the environments that I could actually potentially push the configuration, and whether configuration is enabled to be pushed from Event Portal even or not. So I enabled it for everything with my administrator user. If I click on this little plus side, so this is the development mesh in the development environment. Let me give another smarter, basically username. So shipping dashboard. So this is the username for, and the password. It obviously supports OAuth, of course, but this is just so simple for my setup. Username and password for this application. So every application
on the Solace broker, the actual client username.
This is what will happen when we push it. Yes. So every application has its own credentials, and therefore its own ACLs, and therefore we can have much more granular control over which apps have access to which data.
Yep.
So if I save these credentials, it says now three access requests have not been approved. So it's actually disabled for me to add this to the runtime. It'll still give me the preview of what's going to go there, what the queues are, and what the configuration is, and it'll show you even the subscriptions that would get pushed and everything.
No access. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And
we can see in the queue config there. I mean, so for those that know Solace config a little bit, so it automatically sets the owner of the queue to be your client username, and then the permissions are set to no access, which means other client usernames can't bind to that queue, right? So this is the most safest kind of way of deploying a Solace queue for just this particular application is going to be consuming this data here, right?
Yeah, we follow kind of a least permissive configuring perspective. Only what you've asked and you've been given permission to publish or consume. Right. And then from the credentials, we're going to push an ACL profile, and this is the ACL profile name. This is just the unique ID of the app in Event Portal. It has the default client profile right now, and so it's enabled true, and then so we have all of this. So now
the ACL profile, that's not like some random hash. That's actually, you can actually track that back to where this came from in Event Portal by that ID, right? That's,
exactly.
That's useful.
You can track it back, and it's also trackable to the of course the username on the broker as well. Yep. So you know exactly what that ACL profile is for. Yep. But again, I can't push this config at this point because I didn't get access to all that data. I haven't requested it yet. So if I go back to the details for my application, I can manage the requests, and you'll see that I have 3 requests. And the reason why it's not 2 and it's 3 is because a request is basically composed of 3 things. It's composed of the event, the application requesting the event version, and the subscription that attracts that event version. So, so that's why this subscription with the greater than wildcard is attracting 2 events, actually.
Right, just too broad. Yeah.
Too broad. So what I could say is I'd like access to use this event in my application, we'll give it the name, in my shipping, dashboard application.
So you're still the requester here, right? So like you should be smart enough to see that you're getting you've subscribed to something twice. So let's pretend, I guess you're not that aware of what's
exactly. You should, but this is for a demo reason.
Yep. Okay.
If I created just a greater than, I would get a whole bunch, and it would be very obvious that I kind of screwed that up a bit. So let me put the same message to all of these requests, because you can actually change the message depending on why.
Right.
And and then I can just send these requests. And as the requester, I'm sending out these requests, and then I just basically can see a status. So if I close this guy, I can see, okay, my total requests approved are none, but there's 3 pending. Yep. You can manage them, and these are pending, no action required on me at this point. this point, you know, I just need to wait or go hassle somebody to get approvals or whatever.
Yep.
So now let me go to my Edge browser where I again am logged in as Darryl Approver. So
All right.
different persona, different I have different permissions and different accounts. Like this one, if I go into designer, I'm a viewer of 3 of these and a manager of 1.
You're the shipping guy now. Yeah, so you're Mr.
I'm a shipping guy. So I'm approving these guys. So we get notified in 2 different ways in Event Portal. You get a notification in this little notifications area, event, action needed, and you can click on that and it will tell you.
Where was that again, Darryl? Sorry, I had our webcams covering that. That's the little bell icon down there. Yeah.
Yes, right. This little bell, the notifications, and you can see all the notifications.
So right in the platform. Okay.
Yeah, right in the platform, and then you can click on the details. You could request to review that, and it'll take you to all of your pending requests for you as a user. So this is custom to you as an approver user, and you won't get all of them. You'll only get the ones that for the app domain that you are assigned approver role for.
Makes sense.
Okay, and then but he also, if I refresh this, I should get also an email notification, and that came to this, and then just the same message basically, requesting applications, the shipping dashboard in the fulfillment domain. So he has 1 or more requests, and then you would go in, and then we can review these requests one by one. And if I review them, you can say, well, actually, let's approve the good one. Okay, the first one created, that's the one we would want to approve.
Your mic cut out. Darryl,
oh, did it?
I can't hear you.
Still hear me? No?
No. That's weird. Did your headphones die? You're not muted.
I think so.
Is it me?
No, it's not you.
Here, let me switch my, oh boy, maybe it's my headphones. I can't hear you still. What's going on? I don't know what's happening. I can't hear you.
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Hey, Mark, are you back there? Can you hear him? Darryl? I can hear you.
I can hear both. Some can hear both.
You can hear both. Oh, so it's me. Wow, what's going on? All right, people can hear Darryl. Thanks, guys. Yeah, okay, dang.
Yeah, I got lots of battery left. So let me go back to this.
Darryl, hold on a second.
So it's
everybody.
Not loud.
What is going on here? I have no idea. That's bizarre. I'll be right back. I'm just going to refresh. Don't move. Or keep going, Darryl, if you want.
Okay. I'll
hopefully everyone can still hear me. So, all right. So I'm going to approve this request. So approve use. So basically, I can just send an approval. That guy gets taken away from my pending approval list. It goes into the closed approvals. And then for these guys, I'm going to refuse it. I'm going to decline the request because the subscription is too broad. So I'm going to decline with a message. Please refine your subscription. And I'll just say that again. So I decline this guy because he's using the wildcard subscription, and I'll also decline this guy. And this is, again, just for illustration purposes because it makes the demo a little bit more interesting. So I have no more pending requests. My job's done as an approver for now. So I can go back to my application. If I just click away and click back to refresh, I got 1 of 3 have been approved, 2 declined requests. So if I manage these things, I can actually, I also get, as a requester, I get notified. One's been declined. I've got a declined one and an approved one. I also should get a new emails. So approved and declined. There's 2 obviously declined ones, and it'll just give me details of what's, please refine your subscription, why, and what you've been declined for. So let's come back here and just see what it says in the app itself. So please refine your subscription. Oh, of course, that's obviously what was wrong. So now let me just go back and edit my application to fix the problem. So I take this event version, I go and I will remove this subscription with the wildcard. I will add another subscription there's the updated event. I will just take the default this time, add subscription, close this guy. You back, Aaron?
I'm back. Yep, I can hear you again. I had to reload my tab. Chrome, I don't know what happened. Some little audio glitch, and I just couldn't hear anything. So sorry about that.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah, not too often.
So this time, so I will even put a silver client profile.
All right.
And we're ready to go. So I save this guy. And let's make sure my subscriptions are good. Okay.
Oh, I missed the denial, I guess, eh?
I did. Yeah, you missed the denial, but we got it recorded, Aaron. So we're good. And then, so I refined. I took the approver's suggestion. I refined my subscription to make it more specific, to track only the events that I needed, and now I have to approve, get approval for that new combination of my app, that event version, and the subscription, which is here. So, so I could put, I've updated my subscription. And then
something a little more specific, I guess. Just this one type.
I made it exactly very specific. So now that's done. So if I click away, I should have a pending one. So I have one pending, one has been approved. I come back to as an approver. I should get a new notification, which I have right here. Action needed, event access needs review. You can see what it is here. I should get a new email.
Yep.
Action needed. So it's this guy. And you can click on them. You can get details of it. And then I can go also. So let me review it. So the other way to get to your pending list is just at the top level. Right now we have it just right here. Event access, but you click on the link in the email, it'll take you right there as well. So I see this, the guys, the requester is updated. See, I've updated my subscription. Darryl requester, he asked for it today. We're going to review that. We're going to approve this time. And then I have no pending requests. Okay, I'm all done mine. Now that could be coming in from many different app domains from many different people. You can have a whole bunch of those. Now I go back here, I'll just click away and click back, and it should tell me, okay, that whole banner is gone. Now my app should be deployable. I've got everything I need. It's configured properly. I've been approved for the data that I'm asking for. Mm-hmm. And one other thing is I want to show that I'm going to publish to this topic. So that should create an ACL profile exception entry on my broker. Mm-hmm. Let's go to the runtime tab.
Well, before you switch gears into the next thing, we got a question here from Keith. I'm not sure I quite understand it. Can a filter be used to decline because of systemic ontology or failure to apply systemic ontology? I don't know what exactly that means, Keith. Darryl, do you have a better?
I think it just means this is like way too broad. In general, we're going to decline all of these because they're just using greater than across the board. And so, not right now, Keith. You'd have to go through and decline these, although it's pretty quick. But yeah, there's no rule that I can set, business rule to say, hey, decline all of these automatically. Although it's not a bad idea, to be honest.
Yeah,
like but kind of enhancement.
Force people to only be able to subscribe to the sub or the pieces of the topic that are not, like nothing more than what the topic already is, I guess.
Yeah, maybe the topic root or below, or we could. There are ways to do that for sure. We could do that in code. Yeah, it's a good enhancement.
Yeah, you could obviously, I mean, since you can edit the subscription there, you as a requester, you could make it even more specific, right? Rather than a star, you could put like just America. If it's just you just want shipping notifications for America, I guess you could like manually kind of do that as well, rather than stars for everything, right? But
yes, exactly. And you can say, okay, you're only allowed the North American events, and you're only allowed the European events, and you can ensure that they use the enums and select the events that they're allowed.
Right. Running Roach here. Multi-level approvals possible. Example: event level at publishing owner, but platform level. Queues, definitions, etc. at platform owner levels.
Right now, it's the approvals are based on an app domain basis. So you approve it for everything, all events in your app domain that are specified to be requires approval in the event. So not different approvers for different publishing or subscribe actions.
Right. So it's the level of granularity is the app domain.
That's it.
Right.
Exactly. Which most of our RBAC is on from the designer catalog perspective.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So before I push this config, well, let's just show that. Okay. Now I'm asking for the Silver client profile. This is the config. So Silver is going down. It has this application with my 2 updated subscriptions. Mm-hmm. I could add that to the runtime, but before doing that, let me just cancel here and show you the broker first. So this is the development broker service in the development event mesh. And that's a real thing. If I go to mission control, I have a broker service here. This is the development broker service. I click on this guy. I can manage that guy. So I have view access to this broker. I cannot edit it directly, only via event portal approved request. So if I click on the queues, this will take me into Broker Manager. See all of the queues for all those things attached in the Runtime Event Manager. So all those apps have all these queues. And I don't have a shipping dashboard queue yet. They're all at 5 gig. There's no shipping dashboard. If I go to access control, I shouldn't even have a username for this guy yet. So no, I have a shipping service that's producing those update and create events, but I don't have the shipping dashboard credentials yet, and therefore no ACL profile or anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay. But these are all of the other credentials for the other apps, connected to that broker in the runtime. So this is, of course, like Event Portal is exactly in sync with the runtime. So coming back to Designer here and my application, which is the shipping dashboard one, which I want to actually push to the runtime. So I go to my new runtime tab, and I can press this little plus. It'll say which version, and that's always selects the latest one. If there's more than one, it'll show all of them. And then it'll show a preview again, a preview of everything that will get pushed, like I was just showing. And then if I click add, it goes to configuring. So the application is being configured right now. So that what's happening here is it's going down to the event management agent, and via Terraform, it's doing some commands in the back end to do all of this. So we're using Terraform, pushing the config, and now it's done. So now version 0.1.0 of that application of this shipping dashboard application is connected to that broker, or can be connected to that broker. So that if I go in the runtime,
the configuration is deployed to the broker now. So
exactly, the app instance, the configuration such that when the app instance is deployed, it can connect and get access to that data and only that data. So if I go into my development environment, you can see, let me zoom out and I'll zoom back in so everyone can see this. Put this guy over here to make it pretty. So now my new application 0.1.0 is publishing the test email update event, and it's subscribing to these 2 shipment events which are being produced, but nobody was subscribing to them in this environment yet. So that's cool. But what's even cooler is we actually pushed that config change to the runtime. So if I look at the client username, I can refresh this data, and I should have a new shipping dashboard. Client username with an ACL profile, that ACL profile that we pushed, and with the Silver client profile. So. And if you look at this, this is the ACL profile, again, unique ID of the app in Event Portal. So it's 4G9, finishes in 4G9. So if I go to this client profile and look at finishes 4G9, this guy, I should get a publish exception for that email update test event. And that's it. So it actually pushes the ACL profile. So I can't publish to any topic that I'm not allowed to. And there's no subscribe exceptions because I'm not subscribing via direct message. I'm subscribing via guaranteed message, which means it's going to a queue, and that's controlled here with the queue subscriptions.
So this is set up as a deny list by default, right? So nothing's allowed except for these things, right? Rather than an allow list. But
that's the recommended approach.
It's an allow list. It's which is
yeah. Let's go
deny
back
everything
to look
except
at
for these
it.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go back. Yeah, it's a good point, Aaron. 4G9. So everything is. So you have disallow by default, and then these are the exceptions. Yeah. And that's how we recommend. Same with the subscribe. Disallow by default.
If you're using direct topic subscriptions rather than a queue for guaranteed messaging, then you would have those exceptions, subscription exceptions there instead, right? So
yeah, and this really controls what you can publish and subscribe to. And again, for guaranteed messaging, you want to do this via queues and subscriptions on queues. Here's my new queue that I just created with the 55 gig of space.
Yep.
Click on this guy. You can see those two subscriptions. Beautiful. That's controlling what I can attract to my application.
Awesome. I'm going to interrupt you for another quick second there, Darryl. Keith came back with just a comment. Using a standard data dictionary is key to AI application. It's key to a lot of things. We have a lot of best practices around topic hierarchy. So a lot of what Darryl is showing here is about routing within the Solace broker, routing between applications, and having a well-defined topic hierarchy is very key for that, for governance and for discovery and for just routing and filtering between applications, between brokers. So having a place to capture all that information and be able to search for it is also quite nice to have, right? So that's mainly why we built the portal.
Yes, exactly. And then you can use the actual catalog for a lot of that information as well. And to find that, it searches through that, does Google searches, got loads of filters based on app domains. There's even, you can add filters, states, broker type, the model event mesh, so the environment you want to even search through. But you can even add other ones like functional area. If I go to events,
custom,
like you could do event sensitivity. You can define all kinds of, owners, time sensitivity of events, payload size. So you can really classify the stuff. And then in addition to that, you can type in any any word, and it'll show, it'll do a double of a filter. It adds them together. And it adds these different filters together to really narrow down what you're looking for. And obviously that's very important as the amount of data you have in your event mesh grows.
That's right. And obviously the schemas that are associated with each of these events, right? So the actual payload of the message, the event is in there as well. One quick comment from Running Roach here, just on the following up. Application owners aren't the platform owners. So how do we, as owners and maintainers of the platform, the admins, I guess in your case, Darryl, limit application owners from blowing up the broker?
Yes. So this is the
templates, things like that, or
yes, this is the resource governance. So we just did the data governance. So as part of the queue, building a queue config and defining a config, this is the part that is going to get us to the general availability. We're actually implementing queue templates so that a middleware or an integrations team or DevOps can control that shared resource of a queue and what developers request getting access to. In addition to that, and so you could only select configs that are applicable to specific environments, otherwise you can't push your application. In addition to that, we're going to use a similar workflow in future to actually, if I am just a viewer of production, I can't, as a developer, push my app to production, but I could request it, similar to how we request data, and then an approver in Runtime Event Manager here would approve those requests or not, so that developers can't blow up the broker. So basically, that's the resource governance side, and what we're showing you here is the data governance side.
Yeah.
So we're thinking of all these.
That's an interesting
angles.
contrast. Yeah, that makes very much sense, right? And a lot of middleware teams often don't know what the data is that's flowing through their brokers, right? They're not aware of the actual contents of the messages. That's an application thing, but they certainly are in charge of managing those. That's Solace broker, making sure it doesn't fall over or anything.
Bingo.
These are two very important pieces here.
And up to now, they're responsible for both, when maybe the data governance, they shouldn't. You could still make them that way as well, though. They could still be the approvers for the data governance as well. But that's completely up to the, the enterprise, basically.
Yeah.
So Aaron, I don't know if we have a lot of time to go through another version, but one thing I wanted to show you, you could back out these changes. Like if I created a new version, I could go to another version and I can back out by going back to the latest version. Or if I can back out all changes altogether, and I think I'll probably do that.
Before we talk about backing out, so like if you made a new version, so let's say you made a new version of your app, you're publishing or subscribing to a new event, will the kind of the config push part of this kind of do the delta? Like it's just going to say I'm only up. Is that how?
Will.
Okay.
It will. I could do it quick.
Go for it. Yeah. We can. Let's go.
Okay, let's do it.
10 minutes.
Let's do it.
People can log off if they want, but for those who want to see,
because I would like to show it as well. So what I would do here is I go right here to this to my version. I can duplicate this version. It's the quickest way to make a new version. I'll call this go on 1.1.1. And this one is what I wanted to do is subscribe to another event. So actually, let's do this in the graph. That's cool. I wanted to show you that. Let's discard these changes. I'll create a new version right here. So there's lots of ways to do these things. The fastest way is always the best way. So let's create 1.1.1 of this app and save it. You can give it a description, just define that guy, give it a version name. If it was like Safari, Snow Leopard or whatever. So I say I want to subscribe to this order updated event. I could just drag it, bring it over.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm subscribing to that guy. You can actually remove them by just right-clicking and stop subscribing there as well.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Pretty cool. So I come into the application version, this new version, and now I have to create my consumer that's going to attract that type of event, the order event. So now I want to update my dashboard with orders. So I will go to consumers, edit this version because it's in draft and I can still edit it. I could actually create a gold. I'll go to gold on this version client profile.
It's 1.0. Might as well. Let's add some extra.
Exactly. It needs more, larger message sizes, for instance. So let's call this.
So there is already some resource governance available just because the client profile can have queue templates associated with it. And then you can set up queue templates that are a certain size or whatever, right? So yeah. So there's already a limited amount of governance just through that association with that client profile, I guess.
Exactly. So I'm selecting this subscription. I'll add the subscription, close this guy. I should.
Are you adding it to the same queue or are you making a new queue? I missed that.
I made it a new one. I made a new one here.
2 types of data, might as well put them in different queues.
It's a different one. So I added this subscription. I'm going to configure that. I'm just going to use the default config. I'll put it also 55 gig of space so you can see the difference when we get to the runtime. Save this version. So now I've got 2 consumers subscribing to 3 different events, and I'm publishing one. I'm still publishing that test email update event. And so now if I need to manage access, I don't have access to that guy. So I'm going to send a request. It's sent. I'm going to go to my approver guy.
If we went and checked the runtime event mesh, we would still see the version 0.1.0 because that's the one that's deployed, right? Versus the designer.
It's not deployed yet. We should still be at 0.1.0 right here. Yep. Not very astute, Aaron. Okay, let's go back. Well, now we have to be. I need to approve this new guy. So let me go to my pending approval list as an approver. Here's my updated. I'm going to review this guy. I'm going to approve him so I can show the demo really quickly, get it to the runtime. Otherwise, I'm blocked, Okay, now I'm here back to my requester. So now I want to deploy this guy, and he is attracting this guy now, as you can see. So if I go to, I just double click here, open the application.
Does the requester get an email when their request has been approved?
They do, and you'll get a notification here just now, 12:05 local. I got it, and I should also get a new
so you're
email.
Good to go. Yep.
I'm good to go. Approved.
Yep.
And I'll get it 12. See, down below, 0 minutes ago.
Yep.
Okay, so back here, I'm all good to go, and you don't see anything up here, no banner at the top saying you're blocked. So if I go to the runtime, I want to push this new version. It picks the latest version. There's the 2 versions. It takes the latest one, and then it will say this: the client profile will be updated, the ACL profile will be updated if it's required. In this case, it won't be because I just added subscribing via queue, and then I have to be added is this new dashboard, and then no change to this queue. I could make a change to it, and it would just to be updated. It would say here.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so now if I add that to the runtime, it does this configuring. It says while it's doing it, and while it's doing that, let's go over to the runtime event manager.
So the agent is now off on the broker doing SEMP under the covers and updating these queues, ACLs, usernames, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. It's going down. So Event Portal talks to the agent, and the agent talks to the broker.
The agent, yeah.
Or brokers, like it's a one-to-many cardinality. So now I'm at 1.1.1 in the runtime, and you can see this guy is being attracted, this order updated event now. And we do this stitching just like how events are routed in our brokers. So, but you can actually show that that's actually the case. We go to the queues. I should have a new queue. There it is. Order updates for dashboard.
Yep.
So that's my new queue. It's also got 55 gig of space. It should have that right subscription. And so that's all pushed. And I should have, if I go to access control, updated my client profile to a gold one as well for this.
Where are we? There we are. Yep.
Shipping dashboard.
Now. Gold member.
Shipping. Yeah, he's a gold.
Very nice.
So, and then the back out. So if I know I'm going fast, but in the interest of time.
No, that all makes sense. Okay, so we can handle deploying the initial version, managing upgrades of that version through changes, through updates, and you're going to go now. You're going to roll back because something's wrong with 1.1.1, and we have to go back to 1.10 or something.
We tested it. Something was wrong with it. We want to roll back. I go back. Like no changes would be required it would be pushed if I just went with 1.1.1. But if I go to 0.1.0, it will say that this guy is going to be updated back to the silver client profile. That new queue will be deleted, and there's going to be no change to this guy. And it will say updated if this guy was changed back to some, some parameter was changed. Right. And so we can do that, and it basically rolls back those changes. And so what that will do is in Runtime Event Manager, just to do my due diligence and show you, it will show. Fortunately, it goes to the bottom, so I have to reposition the guy. Yeah, we should make different versions show up in the same place. Is what I'm thinking. Although you could have, different versions show up. Okay, so there's 0.1.1 back. Now, if we go to the broker, my client, if I refresh this, it should go back to silver.
Yep.
Client profile. Oh, I default. I was at default. So
okay.
It's, which one is it, Aaron?
The dashboard one. Maybe it's not deployed yet. Is it still deploying?
No, I think it's.
What is it called? Shipping.
It's called shipping service. Here, it's back to the default.
Yeah.
Okay. And then my queue should go away.
Your queue should, your order.
My order, shipping order one's gone. Not in there anymore. This guy's still 55.
Yep.
And then
quick question from Running Roach. Like, what happens to those producers, consumers? So the actual runtime app who are on 0.1.1. This would have to be coordinated with the actual applications that are doing. This is all just broker config, right? So we would assume that the runtime application of this version is also getting updated, and they would probably go through their own release cycle, right? Like the Java app or whatever it is.
Yeah, and if you're the application owner, like you would update to 1.1.1, for instance, you'd more than likely add new events, and you'd still be producing the same old events. So all of those consumers of those old event versions would be there. Well, unless you deprecated them over time, and then you can indicate the deprecation in Event Portal of an event and create a new version, leave the deprecated one there for a certain amount of time as well. But it's really the events that the consumers care about still receiving.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why we put the major version in the topic address. So you're not attracting the events you're not ready for as well, especially the ones with breaking changes.
Yeah. And it comes back to kind of, I guess, coordinating between, adding your new subscriptions to a queue obviously starts to attract new messages on that topic. Your application needs to be coded in such a way to either be tolerant of events that maybe it's not ready to see yet, or it can log them or something, or have rolled out the new version of the application onto the broker before you turn on those subscriptions on the queues. There's some kind of coordination there between the configuration on the broker and the actual app in terms of its actual runtime versioning, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. So normally you would just add new events and then deprecate the ones that you want to eventually remove in a new version. But in Event Portal, this is a great thing about Event Portal. You can see all your downstream consumers of each version of each event, and then make sure that they're off onto the new version, and the event is just being published off into nowhere in the runtime, and then you can safely remove it and update it in a new version of your application. So that's one of the benefits of Event Portal, is it allows you to see who your downstream consumers are, so you don't break them.
The lineage, I guess, of where this data is going, which version this are people still using. And then I guess you could chase, because you obviously have the application owners, you have emails, you can send them a notification saying, hey, we're going to get rid of this soon. Running Roach, could we quickly demo 2 versions of an event? I might have missed it. I don't think we have time for that today. I think we've done that in a previous office hours when we did. We must have done that before, eh, Darryl?
I'm sure we have, but basically, if I think the shipment one, you just add a new event, right? So. Yeah, you just add a new event version. So I could do that if I could create a new version of the app to add a new one. It's pretty. So say I duplicate this version. We're just we'll call this 1.2.2.
We're skipping a few version numbers here. That's not the most linear.
No. Yeah. So 1.2.1, and then if I wanted to manage events,
you'd have to edit one of these events, I guess.
Yeah. So if I go, which one did it shipping? So I think I have one that has multiple versions here. The created has multiple versions. Yeah. So I could just say I'm subscribing to this guy too.
Okay.
And so, or if I wanted to publish another test one, I could publish too. So I could subscribe to multiple versions as well, and you just save it, and then depending on the topic address, you might have to add a new subscription. If it's the same minor version, then you likely wouldn't if you're following topic best practices, topic structure best practices. Yeah. But it's the same for the pub. If I had another version of this event, I could create a new version and just publish 2 versions at the same time.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool.
Yes. Thanks for showing that. Yeah. Quickly showing that last little bit there. That was great. You got an awesome from Running Roach there. I don't.
Thanks.
Awesome. Let's. I think we're at the end of we're definitely over time here. We've had a lot of comments and questions. That's been great. Darryl, thanks. Do you have anything else you want to kind of show off before we wrap it up?
Nothing else to show off. Just try it out. Let us know what you think.
Yep. It's available now.
Love to get your feedback. If you want access to the config push aspects of it before we go GA, let us know. Just contact your local Solace representative, and they'll get to me pretty quickly.
That's right. Your local Solace friendly representative, or another place to find people like us is on our Solace community. So you can head over to solace.community down there. We have a new program out called Engage with Your Advocate. So through the event portal, through the Solace community, you can request, a meet, an interview, a quick Q&A with a developer advocate in your area. Me is one of them. Darryl, thank you very much I think this was a pretty cool demo. This kind of, this product is getting really pretty slick, actually, it's come a long way since V1 way back when. I'm impressed. I think it's pretty neat. So thank you for joining. Thank you to everybody out there for watching. Thank you for all the questions. I see Mark's throwing up some in the chat here. There we go. There's a link if you want to kind of copy that down. But yeah, it should be on the Solace community. Ask us questions there. We do live, we kind of do early release notifications, Q&A, all that kind of stuff. So thanks for that. Carlos says, thanks for the demo. Very interesting. Thank you very much. And Keith, it's worth my time. Awesome. Well, I hope these office hours, we do them once a month. Next month, I'm going to be doing a deep dive on all the new kind of cool for devs initiatives surrounding getting started easily in Solace. So the Try Me functionality, my colleague Gary has written a console app, a Solace Try Me console application. We're going to be looking at some improvements to the PubSub Plus manager. And well, that's what I'm hoping that we're doing. They haven't confirmed with me yet, but stay tuned. That'll be back next month. Darryl, thank you for joining. Thank you for this event portal update. It's been a while, and I'm glad to see that the product is really, it's looking good. So, thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
I hope you had a good time. And it was. I think it was pretty good. So, all right. Thanks everybody. See you next month. All right. Thanks, Darryl. Bye-bye.
Bye.